I got another letter today. That alone is never good news. Nobody sends letters anymore unless it's important or expensive. I knew it was serious because it started with Dear Gary. Not hi, Gary. Not hello. Just Dear Gary. That's the tone of someone about to explain something complicated using calm punctuation. I opened it neatly. I've learned not to tear into official envelopes. They can smell fear. The first sentence said, "This letter explains what is not covered." I stared at that for a moment. I didn't realize that "not covered" required a formal announcement. I assumed coverage worked like an umbrella. You're either under it or you're wet. Apparently there's a third category called technically damp under certain conditions. Then I saw the list. It had bullet points. Bullet points are never friendly. They look organized, but they carry emotional weight. Each one felt like it was stepping forward saying, "Also, not this. And definitely not that." I leaned closer. It said, "Subject to limitations." That's a very confident phrase. It doesn't explain itself. It just exists. Somewhere out there are limitations, possibly hiding, possibly wearing tiny suits. I told myself not to panic. At Basarsan, panic wastes valuable energy that could be used for sitting comfortably. Still, curiosity sneaks in. I started imagining scenarios. What if I need something and it's not covered? What if something is covered but only on Tuesdays? What if I'm covered but only emotionally? My mind is very creative when paperwork is involved. I remember when coverage meant something simple. You needed help. You got help. Nobody handed you a glossary afterward. Now you need a translator and possibly a historian. Blind at first, I misunderstood the letter. I thought it meant nothing was covered, which felt bold. I imagined calling them and saying, "So just to confirm, I am covered for optimism only?" So I read it again, slower. When you read slowly enough, everything sounds dramatic. This is not covered. It felt like a documentary about my wallet. Then I noticed something magical at the bottom of the page. BEMDA phone number. Now we're talking. A real number. That means somewhere there is a human being who understands this language. Possibly someone who drinks coffee and has hobbies. Bland, I didn't call immediately. I waited until the next morning. I like to sound calm when I ask questions. If you call too quickly, you sound like you've already built a bunker. Bland's that night, of course, my imagination held a meeting. What if this happens? What if that happens? My brain loves worst-case scenarios. It treats them like creative writing exercises. But in the morning, everything felt smaller. Paper is very brave at night. Less so in daylight, I called. A polite voice answered. I asked simple questions. I said, "Can you tell me what is covered?" That changed everything. Turns out, many things are covered. Some things are not. And most of the scary language is just legal stretching before the real conversation begins. I realized something important. The letter wasn't a threat. It was information. Boring, responsible information wearing dramatic clothing. So here's my new system. When I receive a letter about what's not covered, I don't let the list intimidate me. I don't assume catastrophe. I find the phone number, I ask clear questions, I write the answers down in normal handwriting, and then I put the letter in a folder labeled important, which is much more comforting than leaving it on the table where it can stare at me. My solution is simple. Focus on what is covered, ask direct questions, keep calm, and never let bullet points bully you. Because in the end, the only thing truly not covered is avoiding paperwork entirely, and I've accepted that, reluctantly. So here's what I've learned. When a letter explains what's not covered, it's not the end of the world. It's just paperwork trying to sound important. I don't panic. I don't assume disaster. I find the phone number, ask simple questions, and let a real human translate the dramatic language. Because at this age, I don't need mystery. I need clarity. And if something truly isn't covered, well, I'll deal with it calmly, preferably after coffee.